That's the transformative piece. We go into acceptance, alignment, and action.
Welcome to StaffBuffalo's Pain Points podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Pain Points podcast. I'm Lauren Lewis, and today I'm here with Christine Mathieu, certified money coach and wealth coach at Note Advisors. Christine, thanks so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'd love to start by having you tell us about your journey as a certified money coach and wealth coach and what you do here at Note Advisors.
Oh my gosh, my journey.
Yeah.
It's going to be a mouthful. So
I love that though. That's what tells the story.
Right? Oh my gosh. So I've been in this industry. Oh my gosh. I almost hate to say this number. Almost 35 years.
Good for you. That's amazing.
35 years. So I spent 20 years as a financial advisor. So doing the work that my colleagues do here at Note. So 20 years as a financial advisor, and it was during the Great Recession, 2008, 2009.
That was in a wild time.
And it was a really wild, awful time. But a lot of good came out of it because that's when my eyes were opened to what I was missing as an advisor and how, if I had a certain skill set, how I may have been better able to help my clients navigate this significant period of time that was riddled with fear and volatility. Because if, I don't know, you're awfully young. You appear to be very young, Lauren, so I don't know if you remember what 2008 or 2009
No, I had just graduated college a couple years before. Okay. So I was starting my career and a couple years into my career at that point. So I remember it really impacting people's livelihoods.
Absolutely.
The housing market, like
everything.
And people who were graduating, I felt fortunate I graduated in 2006, so I was already in my career, but people who were graduating in 2008 and what do I do?
So this period of time, like I said, intense fear, high volatility, and it was experienced on every front, the economic, political, social front. And it didn't just happen here at home, domestically in the United States. Right. No. This was felt really for the very first time on a global scale.
Yeah.
So what I noticed back then was it didn't matter as an advisor what I was showing my clients on paper. I could prove to them, if you'll just stay the course. And these are individuals who on paper were looking at losses of 30, 40, even 50%.
Oh gosh.
But when I would show them the projections and I would say, look, if you stay the course and you honor your timeline, you'll be okay.
Right.
You'll be okay. You'll be able to weather the storm, but you have to give yourself the opportunity to weather the storm. Yeah. So it didn't matter what I said. It didn't matter what I showed to them in terms of proof. Fear overrides logic every time.
Especially in times of crisis like that, right?
Yeah. So whether we are experience a major life transition, big change, or how you just described it, a major crisis, right? It could be an economic crisis. It could even be a health crisis.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, fear intensifies. And we all have fears, whether we want to admit it or not. We all have them. And it's these fears, these internal fears, subconscious fears, drive our decision making and then ultimately drive the actions that we take, or in other words, our behavior.
Right.
So I didn't have the skill set to help people navigate their emotional relationship with money. That's what it came down to. And I remember at the time I had been working with a coach myself personally. For lack of a better term, she was a life coach, but she was much, much more than that. But I remember sitting back saying, gosh, I wonder if there was a way to integrate the principles of this kind of coaching in with traditional financial advisement. I have no idea if such a thing even existed. Now remember, this is 2008. So this is before the Financial Therapy Association existed. This was even before, if I'm not mistaken, Money Quotient existed. But what I will say is that the Money Coaching Institute, where I received my certification in money coaching, the Money Coaching Institute existed. So Deborah Price, the CEO and founder of the Money Coaching Institute, in my opinion, is the trailblazer, pioneer of this particular curriculum and methodology, which helps us to understand our emotional relationship with money, and why we are the way that we are, and why we behave the way that we behave with money, to the good or to the worse.
It sounds, when you talk about being a certified money coach and a wealth coach, sometimes having that coach tied to it feels more holistic.
Sure.
In terms of probably what you do and how you work with your clients too.
Yeah.
It makes it like more of a full service. I don't want to
Absolutely.
say full service, but you're taking into consideration probably a lot of other things besides just finances.
Absolutely.
Right.
In fact, when I went into coaching, when I made the decision to leave the industry, it was very intentional because I truly believed that this was something that was much needed
Yeah.
and not mainstream. Because back then, behavioral finance was hardly a whisper. So making that decision to go off on my own and become a coach and leave the industry as a whole, that was a big deal. Right? So I was,
huge.
and I was on my own for 10 years, but I knew 2 years into my coaching practice, I knew that being back inside of a firm is where this coaching fits best.
So tell me more about that. Like, and the differences you saw from your career as a financial advisor to then becoming a coach.
Yeah.
And then tying that back to being a coach within a firm.
Yeah, being a coach. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's been almost 5 years since I've been with Noted Advisor, since I
that's
came on
great.
board as a wealth coach. And that's all I do. That's my lane. That's the lane I stay in. I do not go into the financial planners lane. I have nothing to do with the management or anything to do with the comprehensive plan on the numbers. So I don't deal with the numbers. I don't deal with the investments or anything of that sort. That's their job. That's the
So you
certified
probably work
financial planner.
synergistically with them,
Yes.
right?
So they address the numbers. I address the relationship with money.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
money has nothing to do with the numbers. Money is about our sense of self. It's about our sense of safety and security. It's about how we identify, right? It's our sense of agency. It's also what points towards our perception of possibility and potential, right? Money is, in my opinion, it's the best relationship that we have to learn about ourselves in terms of what we believe about ourselves and what we believe is possible.
And so much of that is mindset.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's probably the easiest term, right, to throw, right, at all of this, right? Because then I'll get people, they'll ask me, how do I develop or acquire a money mindset?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what makes you think you don't already have one? We all have a money mindset, but what we don't understand is what that means and how it operates, because your current money mindset can be one of lack and scarcity,
Yes.
or it can be one of abundance and possibility.
I'm always working towards that abundance and possibility mindset.
We all are. We all
Yeah.
are, but the reality is that by and large, all of us, without exception, I don't care how much money you have or how much money you make or don't have or don't make.
Right.
By and large, we all come to the table with a lack and scarcity mindset.
Why?
If we look to neuroscience,
Yeah.
and this is part of what the Money Coaching Institute teaches, right? It's part of the curriculum, just so that you have an idea. It's psychology, neuroscience, and spirituality as well. So it's a combination of those three. But if we look at neuroscience and we look at the brain, so we don't have one brain, we actually have three brains. So the first brain, or version 1, is the primitive or instinctive brain.
Right.
So this is where we are wired, not just for desire, but wired for survival. Then we have the emotional brain. And then we have the thinking brain. Now, between those three brains is the thinking process. And 95% of our thinking process occurs in the first two brains, the primitive and the emotional brain. And that thinking is passive.
Right.
It's subconsciously
Subconscious that we're always
driven.
it's telling ourselves in our head without even realizing it.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
And that also means if our thinking process, if the majority of it is passive and fear-based, that also means so is my behavior.
Right.
So however I do money, whatever decisions I'm making with money or about money is driven by fear.
Yeah.
So that means only 5% of our thinking process is truly active, which means only 5% of the time are we truly ever in the present moment, having no attachment to the past. So we have no fear of repeating a past mistake.
Yeah.
And we have no attachment to the future. So we have no fear of what's to come. And we don't have this insatiable desire to control the unknown.
Yeah.
We are truly rooted in the present moment, which also means we have full faith and trust in ourselves and our ability to make an effective decision. Right? So
Yeah.
that's only 5% of the time.
Wow.
So
that
that's-
is so minimal. It's crazy.
It is. And
Yeah.
that's proof, right? So individuals that are looking for an explanation as to why there's one body of science that explains it and proves it.
Yeah.
So what does that show us? How do we work with that? What it's telling us is that when we go about making decisions, whether it's about money or anything related to money, which whether we like it or not, nearly every decision we make is influenced by it.
Yep.
And our relationship with it. So what that means is we need to slow down. So instead of feeling pressured to make a decision right then and there,
Yeah.
because most of us are emotional decision makers.
Yeah.
That's the reality, right? So slow the thinking process down. Give ourselves time to really work through something. And when I say work through something, I mean identify the fear around it. What's your greatest fear?
What is the fear?
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah. What's your greatest fear around this?
Yeah.
And then once you've answered that question fully and completely, move to the next question, which is, okay, what are some other potential or possible outcomes?
And
What else would
kind of
happen?
line this all out.
Yeah.
So it's a whole exercise.
Exactly. And write that out. Then you can move into the next question is, what do I hope for? So when you're able to move from fear to hope, now you're in a position to make an effective decision. Yeah.
It's so interesting. Just right now, I'm in the middle of car shopping. My lease is up, almost up, and it's okay. What's the next best course of action? Do I stick with the kind of car I have? Do I go with a different car? What do the numbers look like? But then it's moving through this process of what fits my lifestyle. What do I want? I don't have kids, so I don't need a third row like many of my family members who have 3 kids.
Yeah.
So it's just different things like that. It's like what fits our lifestyle and what do we need or what do we want out of a vehicle? Safety, reliability are the 2 top things. So what does that mean? But also, it's what's the easy decision here? What's easier, stick with the same car or finding another one and starting over?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that thought process and mindset that goes into it to help you make that decision too.
So it's balancing out what it is
balancing it
that you
out.
want with what you have in terms of resources
Right.
to pay for
Yeah.
the vehicle.
Yeah.
And as you're making that, and as you're working through that decision, right, you want to be mindful, you want to be intentional.
Absolutely.
And then when you arrive to the dealership and you sit down at the negotiation table,
You're ready. You're prepared.
right,
And excited, hopefully.
hopefully.
Yeah, I think you have to make this, and whether it's a car or a home, big purchases, you're making a decision for you and not for the salesperson who's selling it to you. He's probably feeling a little pressure, know what to say to get you to buy from them.
Right.
So there's always a process that you have to go through. But I think probably with your help, Christine, you help people navigate those
Right.
decisions and those situations too.
Right. Or at least understand themselves better and understanding what is truly motivating their decision making.
Absolutely.
Right? That decision making
Right.
process.
So when you're back, you're at Note Advisors, you're back in a firm.
Yeah.
How are you finding the synergy between the advisors and the work you do with clients?
It's really cool. It is. It's really cool. Oh gosh, and I'm even trying to think of a good example that I could even give you to help illustrate that, because so again, when we hear the term personal finance, right, there's a little expression. Personal finance, it's 99% personal and it's 1% finance. Right, so what do we mean by personal?
Right.
We have to address the human being behind the numbers, right? So these my colleagues are incredible, very talented technicians. Right? They're really good with making the numbers work and then aligning those numbers to be in support of whatever that individual or couple wants from life. But the reality is money is typically a source of stress versus a source
joy. It can bring the joy, but a lot of times it is stressful.
Right.
It can be a strain on relationships, especially.
Yes. So instead of it being a source of stress, can we find a way to just allow it to be the source of support?
Oh, I like
to
that.
be the support of what it is that you really want out of your life. And now, as we're working through this and we're having these conversations, because that's what we do. These individuals will come through the Note Advisor's door and they're going to have the initial conversation with one of the planners. And then the planner is going to notice, okay, here's a particular language pattern that I'm noticing, or they're talking in this way and it seems to be pointing towards this type of behavior that may not be serving them well. In other words, they're picking up on thoughts and belief patterns or even behavioral patterns that are undermining the client's best efforts and intentions. So it's like a bell goes off or a red flag goes off and they're like, oh, I think this person would really benefit from having an introductory conversation with Christine.
Cool.
With a wealth coach.
Yeah.
So that's how it works when you come through the doors. And then when they have the conversation with me, of course, I'm going to get directly, we're going to talk about the relationship dynamics with money. We're going to talk about, okay, what are the characteristics or tendencies that you have? I'll ask them, describe your relationship with money to me. What's the first thing that comes to mind? And they may say, oh gosh, conflicted. I'm so indecisive. I second guess myself all of the time. So as you can imagine, and the other thing that'll come along with that is I'm afraid of losing everything.
Oh.
I know I have more than enough. I've been told that I have more than enough, but I'm still afraid I'm going to lose everything.
So, scared relationship with money.
Yeah. So if they have fear of loss, and if they know that they have a conflicted relationship with money, and they're indecisive and they second guess, how will that impact the relationship that they have with their financial advisor? Not in a healthy
It's not in a good way, no.
So now I can have that conversation with the planner that just
gives the background more to and where they're at
and
how
adds
they're
more
feeling.
value to the relationship between the planner and the client. And many of these clients will also engage with me. They'll say, we want to do this work while we're doing the financial planning piece as well. And to give you a quick example, one of the planners came to me last week and said, okay, we have a client that we've been working with since, I don't know, last year sometime. And now this individual keeps coming back wanting me to run worst case scenarios.
Oh.
And not just one worst case scenario, like multiple. Right? What if this happens? Okay, what if this happens? What if this happens? Now, of course, the benefit here, now the planner comes to me because I've been working with that person.
Yeah.
I've coached that person. So I know why that person is asking the planner for what they're asking for, right? And on a repeated basis. So I explained to the planner, I said, okay, so this is this individual's deep-seated, deep-rooted fear of losing everything, because in this individual's lifetime, even though it was decades ago, that person lost everything. So it's still informing. So this is where the past is still informing the present.
In the back of their mind all the time.
Yes. And what you think he's looking for is for you to prove to him that he'll be okay no matter what.
Yeah.
What he's really looking for is for you to prove that he's right and that he has a reason to be afraid.
Oh. Yeah.
Right? Now I know what my work is, and I go back to the client and we work through it together to help bring this into his awareness and to look at what's really motivating these requests and how can I help you find peace with your plan.
Right. Yeah. Now let's talk about the other side of the spectrum.
Yes.
Someone comes in and maybe they don't have fear. Maybe they are have this super healthy relationship with money. How do you work with those people? Because I'm sure there's still some coaching you have to do to help them navigate their maybe super abundant money mindset. Right?
Yeah.
Am I on the right track with the other side of the spectrum too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Those people are out there, right?
They are. In fact, one of our principals, he and I had a lunch last summer with a client, and she had asked that very question. She says, I know you worked with so-and-so, and I know that so-and-so is very successful and has an abundance of money. Doesn't have to worry that there will ever be enough. There's always going to be
always enough money there.
Always going to be enough. And she said, same thing. How did you work with that individual? What were you addressing?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, money isn't the only form of currency. Right? So now let's talk currency. There are other currencies, right, that weave in and out of all of our life facets.
Right.
So second to money is going to be time.
Oh, okay.
So time is a currency. Our physical health or vitality or energy, that's a currency.
Yeah.
Love is a currency. Anything that you can think of where you're spending or giving or investing or sharing, those are currencies. Our faith is a currency.
Right.
So it's almost guaranteed that we can find lack or some type of stress and struggle, a pain point, if you will.
Thank you. I love that, Christine.
A pain point, if you will, in a currency.
In one of the
currencies, exactly. So for that particular individual that she was referencing to, it was time.
Oh.
Right? Because this was an individual who came to me because they couldn't wrap their brains around the notion of retiring.
They just were like,
work. Their work is what gave them, they believed that their work was their source of vitality. They believed that their work was their source of influence and meaning in their life. As you can see, it has nothing to do with money.
Nope. The money was almost the byproduct.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the big problem that the client had recognized was, I know I need to slow down, but I don't know how to slow down because if I'm not pinging from one meeting to the next, if I'm not running from one meeting to the next with my hair on fire, I don't feel relevant.
Yeah.
I don't feel as though I'm doing enough.
Not adding something to this economy or this life. That's how they're finding their fulfillment.
So it's really, if my hair's not on fire, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
So if it's not enough, so you can see what's driving their way of navigating their calendar or their schedule, their time, how they're managing their time, not enough relative to that currency, lack and scarcity mindset.
How do you work with people through that, no matter what currency it is, the lack and scarcity mindset?
Yeah, and there is a methodology behind this. So
you don't have to give away all your secrets.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think it's becoming more known, but you have to be willing to look at your fear, because that's what lack and scarcity is.
Right.
It's fear-based. So you have to look at what the underlying or subconscious, or what I call it, the root cause. What is the root cause of this lack and scarcity that you're noticing? And it is taking a trip back in time. So it's exploring your money memories or your money history or money biography. What was mom or dad like when you were growing up in your formative years, or whoever was of significant influence when you were growing up? Because our brain development, the majority of the brain development occurs between ages 2 and 12.
And that's really young when that's forming.
Yes, including your relationship with money.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a whole line of questioning that I take folks through to help them uncover and then understand where these characteristics and tendencies and patterns, belief and behavioral patterns around money came from.
Where did it start?
Yeah. So we got to shed light on it. We need to understand where it came from, what the nature or the origin of these patterns are. And once we have that, now we can look at them. And here's the key point. We got to be able to look at these fears or these self-limiting beliefs without judgment. So instead of being afraid of looking at these fears or being afraid of what's holding us back or keeping us stuck, what was once so uncomfortable to do, which is the looking at, right?
Right.
What was so uncomfortable to do now becomes less and less uncomfortable, and that's because you're letting go of self-judgment.
Yeah. You're releasing that.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
releasing that fear.
Absolutely.
That's one of my words for 2026. Release.
Release.
Yeah.
That's good. Mine is
Release
ease.
Ease. Oh, I like that too.
Yeah.
It's funny how they changed. Like a couple of years ago, mine was like, it was more like say no.
Ah.
Kind of like
Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Nice.
Say no to different things. I don't have to run to every single meeting or networking event after work. I can say no. I can establish my boundaries between my home life, spending time with my husband's family, like running to a meeting or a networking event after work and going, then getting home. And it's, no, you can say no. It's okay. You can go to pick and choose. Yeah, this year it's release.
Nice. Nice.
Release tension, release stress, release different things, but yeah.
Yeah, so release around those self-limiting
doubts. I love that.
The self-limiting
I'm gonna add that
patterns that we have.
Words.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And even boundaries around money. See that a lot when I work with couples that have children.
Yeah.
Families, really hard to say no to the kids.
Yeah.
So
Are there
boundaries.
certain like daily tricks or habits that people can do to help with their mindset in switching the mindset from scarcity?
There are some schools of thought that would say with there are. Right? So we could call them affirmations.
Right.
Or even right-minded thoughts, that type of thing. But honestly, with everything that I have witnessed in my own life and in the lives of my clients, and everything that I have studied and put into practice, what I have found is that if you don't do the work around shedding light on those blocks and barriers, meaning those self-limiting beliefs, those fears, if you don't shed light on that, you could affirm yourself all day long, but those patterns, those underlying subconsciously driven patterns,
The blocks are still there.
they're still there.
Yeah.
Because and I think it was, oh my gosh, who was it? I think this quote might be accredited to Rumi. It was something like, in order to experience, and you can insert whatever word you want, true wealth or true happiness, you have to undo the blocks and barriers to its presence. And this is what I think people have backwards.
Right.
The myth that we're told is that we have to do something in order to become something, to become whatever it is that we want. We have to do this in order to become happy. But it's the
if this, then that.
yes, exactly. But it's actually the opposite. Because if we understood who and what we really are, so back to the money coaching curriculum,
right?
The certified money coaching curriculum, part of it is a big piece of it, and another part of my background is metaphysics, is the spiritual component. So when you understand the essence of who and what you really are, you understand that this happiness, this joy, this abundance, that is who and what you are right here and right now. But if that is not what you are experiencing in your day-to-day, whether it's around money or within the workplace or at home, right? So if you are not experiencing that happiness, that joy, that abundance, it means that there are blocks and barriers to the presence of it.
And those blocks and barriers can show up at any point.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's probably just given on different life situations that you face as you're navigating your journey and growing up. So it's not just between that 2 and 12, but that's obviously is very formative. But then the blockages show up throughout your life.
Yes.
And then identifying them, acknowledging them, and then releasing them. I love that.
Right.
That's so cool. Earlier in the podcast, you mentioned the financial, it's like financial therapy.
Oh, Financial Therapy Association.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch.
Sounds so interesting to me. I did not know there's something like that out there. But tell me more about the Financial Therapy Institute.
I don't know a whole lot about it.
Okay.
It's not.
I won't quiz you too much.
No, it's not a path. It's not a path that I chose. I'm very particular about using words like therapy, because a lot of people, when I start talking about this, they'll say, oh, it sounds like money therapy. I said, that's your frame of reference. I did not position it as such. That's not how I would describe it. But we all have ways of interpreting what we hear. That's okay. But when it comes to therapy and any form of mental health, that profession, whether it's counseling, social work, or therapy, I have a tendency I want to be careful.
Right.
Like, I don't want to hold myself out ever as a mental health professional in any form.
Yeah.
So the Financial Therapy Association, I don't have a whole lot of understanding around it, but that's on purpose. Because in my mind,
And I can see that division now that we're talking about it a bit more.
It just didn't sit
financial
right with
therapy
me, so
and
it's like,
coach. Coaching, to me, like I said earlier, it's a little bit more holistic. You're partnering with your clients to help them develop a plan, strategy to acknowledge maybe some of their blocks.
Right.
And move past them. And you're working with them on a kind of probably consistent basis.
Right.
Which leads me to another question. When you are working as a wealth coach and a money coach, are you meeting with your clients on a regular basis? Mm-hmm. Does it vary client to client? Tell me more about what that relationship might look like.
Yeah, typically it is an engagement, as you called it. And depending on the depth and breadth of what they might be dealing with, that will determine what that engagement or the length of that engagement might look like. But typically, it could be a 3-month engagement, and that 3-month engagement is where we focus on awareness. This is where we focus on shedding light on the blocks and barriers or the fears or the self-limiting beliefs, and then understanding the origin. And then the second phase, that would be the first phase 1 of wealth coaching. So that's 3 months. This phase 2 of wealth coaching is another 3 months.
Okay.
So that's the transformative piece.
Cool.
So that's where we go into acceptance, alignment, and action. Mm-hmm. So that's, and we would be meeting at typical cadence is every other week.
Wow.
Every other week for whether it's 3 months, 6 months, and then many clients will retain. So they'll stay on and we'll work. Then we'll meet with each other, sometimes monthly, could be every other month, because now it's less coach, more accountability partner. Okay. So they've been given all these tools and processes. So now we want to make sure that
they're using them.
Exactly.
It's like you spent this kind of 6 months, probably more intensive.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Like part of it. How do we keep maintaining what we're doing?
That's right.
So you're on the right track.
Right.
Consistently.
Right. Because these patterns that we have, we've been living with them for decades. Fears, right? The fear, the guilt, we've been living with it for decades. So to think that we can undo all of that in a period of 3 months or 6 months is completely unrealistic.
You're unraveling a lot there. So you gotta unravel it. Yeah. It takes time.
Yeah, it does.
It's not gonna be an overnight thing. No. I'm sure the clients you work with, you have to establish that with them too. Hey, this isn't gonna be overnight. This is a process.
Right.
And we're gonna work through it, but it's gonna take time.
And they will experience really some quick shifts, right? They will experience that during the engagement, but now we want to make whatever shifts were experienced during the engagement, we want them to be sustainable. Mm-hmm. And then we also want to continue to work towards whatever hasn't shifted, whether it's on the belief end of things or on the behavioral side, as well.
And do other currencies show up too?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not just focusing on one form of currency.
Yeah.
You probably start with one, uncover that maybe there's other currencies that need the support too, and the shift.
And this is where my having conversations with the financial planners are also really important, because sometimes they may say, why they don't seem to be getting better. This particular, I'm trying to think of, let's say it's a debt pattern.
Okay.
Right? They say that they wanted to pay off the debt, and they only seem to be knocking off a little bit. Like, they said that they wanted to pay it off by X period of time, but that's just never going to happen. And I said, well, that's okay. As long as you're seeing some improvement, right? A little improvement is better than no improvement whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But understand that they're going to have hiccups, because this is a pattern that's been in play.
Right.
The underlying pattern, right? We're not talking about the actual behavior, the debt itself, but the underlying self-limiting belief pattern or the fear pattern, right? That subconscious pattern has been alive in their mind since they were very young. So that's going to take time for them to heal that part of themselves and then actually see that reflected in their behavior, which might look like paying off their debt, reaching a particular financial milestone or goal.
And I think sometimes too, celebrating the little things can really help make a difference, right?
Absolutely.
In their journey. So you pay off one small debt, celebrate that.
Right.
It's going to help you now a little bit more to pay off that next debt.
And even for individuals that, let's say, they are debt averse, they want no part of debt in any form. And that can be difficult for a planner to grasp, because they might say, but in order for you to achieve this, which is what you're saying you're wanting, leveraging debt in the right way can help you reach
the goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's hard for a lot of people to understand too.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes they just don't know.
Because debt is not a bad thing.
Not necessarily, no.
It's, again, debt, like money, we're the ones that give it its meaning.
Right.
But in and of themselves, they have no value, they have no meaning, they have no power. They're nothing. They're neutral. Until we decide what they mean to us, right? So for a lot of debt is dirty.
Yeah. It's not a good thing.
But for other people,
don't talk about it.
Yeah, but for other people, they're like magicians with debt. They know how to leverage it, and they don't get themselves into trouble.
And that's the whole mindset thing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is understanding that comfort with the debt.
Right.
And not treating it as dirty.
Right.
But understanding how it works.
Yeah.
Christine, if someone wanted to work with you, do they have to be a client of Note Advisors, or do you take clients externally as well?
Yes. Yeah. Right now, I have the capacity for the time being, right, to take on clients that are outside of Note Advisors. So you don't have to be a financial planning client or an investment management client to engage with my services. But yeah.
That's awesome. If someone wants to connect with you and engage with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Oh gosh, probably the best way, website, noteadvisors.com.
Great.
Wait, does it have an S? I have to cheat. Note Advisor. Note Advisor.
Okay.
No S.
And we will tag it in the comments,
Okay.
in the caption of the podcast
Yes.
too.
And you can find me on LinkedIn as well. You just have to spell my last name correctly.
And we will tag you, but please spell it for us.
So it's Christine with a C-H, Christine, and then the last name is Mathieu, Mathieu.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Christine. This is a really enlightening conversation, and I think it's so important for so many people to not only listen to this podcast, but look more into the behavior of money and your mindset around it, and work with a money coach. Yeah. I think it's going to really help people handle the situations with money better and achieve what they want in their lives when it comes to not only their financial goals, but their life goals. So whatever form of currency it might be for them, it's always got to work on these things. And I think sometimes we think once we're out of school, we don't need coaching. We don't need support anymore. We don't need the education, but we are living beings who are constantly on this journey to be our best person and become better and live our best lives. And you need support.
Right.
You need guidance and coaching. And I think it can really go far for people and help them achieve what they want. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your story with us. I had no clue there was so much behind that. So I learned a lot too.
Thank you.
Anything else that we did not touch on that you want to share, like last tidbit with our listeners?
Oh gosh, the only thing that came to mind when we were talking about website and something, it's the money types quiz. So if anybody does have a curiosity around what is currently influencing their relationship with money, or what is influencing the effectiveness of their financial decision-making process, there is a quiz that we have on our website. I think it's under the resource tab. If you click on that, the drop down, it'll take you to the money types quiz. Take the quiz. It'll take you 5 minutes.
Perfect.
You'll get the results. You probably won't, full disclosure, you're probably not going to understand the results that come to you, right? But part of taking that quiz is, if you are interested, I am more than happy to schedule a call to explain the results of your quiz.
Cool.
Right? Because the results of your quiz are going to give you some really important insights into your relationship with money and why you are the way that you are with it.
I love that. Awesome. So noteadvisor.com.
Yes.
Resources, the money quiz.
Money types
Quiz.
That's right.
Awesome. I love it.
That's right. That's one idea.
That's great. That's perfect. Thank you again so much, Christine. This has been an amazing conversation.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you joining us. Absolutely. And thank you for listening to the Pain Points podcast. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Pain Points podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to follow us so you never miss out on future episodes.